Check 1, 2. Checks podium mic. Check mic 1. Mic 2. Mic 3. 4. 5. 6. Wireless. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. Principal.
All right, good evening, everybody. Let's start the meeting with the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening. We did have a brief exec session prior to tonight's meeting for personnel, legal, and contracts. Dr. Stage, I'll turn it over to you for a couple of presentations this evening.
Yes, thank you. So we're going to start with Nathan Wiles. I believe Nathan's here. How you doing, Nathan? You want to come up and use the podium? Nathan's from, well, obviously, he's an Athens alum. Am I right, Nathan? That's right. And he's 2008. Nice. And he's here to discuss the Wiles Weather app.
This thing on? Beautiful. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. My name is Nathan Wiles, for those that don't know. I'm the owner and meteorologist at Wiles Valley Weather, based here in Litchfield Township. As Dr. Stage mentioned, I'm an Athens alumni, class of 2008, and received my meteorology degree from Penn State shortly after. I have about 13 years of professional meteorology experience, of which I've spent in various roles forecasting for large corporations, be it Home Depot or even NFL teams like the Philadelphia Eagles and the New York Giants. Unfortunately, while I wasn't able to help the Giants as much, I like to think that I helped the Eagles get that Super Bowl win a couple years ago. I moved back to the area here a few years ago and decided to bring my expertise back home to assist local municipalities, local school districts, snow removal contractors, just assisting them with making critical decisions around winter weather, around severe weather, so that they had the right information. Data-driven decisions obviously are what we need to take the guesswork out, take the emotions out of things, so that we're putting the right foot forward. The idea of this program was to provide something that didn't exist in this area before when it came to presenting the weather in a more simplistic manner. The mobile app that we provide is not your typical weather app that everybody probably has access to in their phones. It's not that hourly 20%, 30% where you have to kind of make the assumption of what's actually going to happen, when is this actually going to happen. This is more of a simplistic approach to weather where I'm bringing in the idea of a summary forecast of saying when does it start, when does it end, and more importantly, what are the impacts that we're going to entail or expect during this weather event. Now, any type of weather event, be it a snow shower like this afternoon that we saw, that really didn't stick to anything down here in the valley, or the difference of elevation where you have some impacts on secondary roads, on dirt roads. Those are the things that we're highlighting for our municipalities and for our school districts that we work with, so that they can make the decisions on whether to maneuver, delay, whatever the case might be. Now, we do provide the service, the closest school district that we work with outside of Mansfield University is the Wellsboro Area School District, and they've been on this service for a couple years now. And we've been pretty much kind of flexing and providing any type of support that they need. And, it goes just beyond the mobile app that you have presented here. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of what we do and how we provide the services, we use like a 48-hour rule where about 2 days out, you'll receive notification on the weather event. Again, whether it's a minor snow shower event that's just going to stick to grass, or something that's going to be actually more impactful to the bus routes or to the road conditions. This is something we'll continue to update throughout the weather event, usually early in the morning, and obviously receive feedback back and forth within the app. There's a mobile chat feature there that our superintendents that I work with, any of the snow removal customers, they reach out to me directly, and our meteorologists. We actually have 2 on staff and a third that works part-time, just so you are aware it's not just myself, that we're providing 24/7 coverage pretty much throughout the Twin Tiers to any of our subscribers. Beyond that 48-hour period, we provide what's called a 2-week outlook or an extended outlook, where we highlight any potential threats. Now, we're not predicting, hey, next Wednesdays we're going to get 2 to 3 inches. Obviously, we understand that weather prediction beyond really 3-4 days is pretty uncertain. So the idea with that is that we're providing the potential look for the next couple weeks to say, hey, we're watching a storm next Wednesday. There is significance to it, or whatever the case might be. So especially our municipalities, they can reschedule their crews around it if there's a big holiday coming up, whatever the case might be. And holidays, weekends especially, we're still providing forecasts, whether or not school's in session. Outside of winter weather, we do cover severe weather, any type of impacts that might be flash flooding, air quality. We saw it a couple years ago with the forest fires, severe weather, tornadic activity in this area, whatever the case might be. Obviously, being in the valley, it seems like all the thunderstorms kind of go around us. But the idea here is that we're not just focused on Athens Borough. We're going to be focused on the entire district footprint. Now, over the last few years, I've established a network of weather cameras. We have about 5 or 6 cameras that are set all across the Athens area school district, one in Ridgeberry area, 2 in Athens Township, 1 in Athens Borough, 1 in Greens Landing. We have 1 in Litchfield. We have pretty much the entire footprint covered, because visibility on this area is important, as if we were going to send you guys weather information, but if it's not going right, we want to verify what's actually happening. This is a way for us to make sure that we're quality controlling the information, we're providing accurate information, and we're updating as need be. We also have 2 weather stations positioned on both sides of the valley, one in Athens Township and the other one in Litchfield, pretty much Orange Hill area. So pretty much moving forward, the idea here is that we would like to provide this service to the Athens School District to assist with the transportation services that are being provided, to assist with any sporting events, to assist with any extracurricular activities, which is something we do for the Wellsboro School District. We provide an extended outlook for graduation to assist with the decision making around that, whether we actually do it inside or outside. I know we always try to shoot for it outside every year, and sometimes we get lucky. So I remember my graduation was hurried a little bit just because we could see the thunderstorms rolling in just from the other side of the mountainside. So it's one of those things we take seriously when it comes to any type of weather event and any type of sporting activity. The Athens Little League will be, receiving our services here next summer, just to, have that information, making decisions around whether lightning is going to be in play, whether heavy rain is going to be in play. So it's something we are very locally focused. We're here locally in this area, and, it would be an honor for me to be able to provide this service to the school district here over the coming year. I wanted to, field any questions from the board if anybody had any, concerns or thoughts. Yes, sir.
What is the difference between what you are providing and what Radford County runs that they have? Basically, they have something that feeds out to all local municipalities and fire departments. What is the difference between what you and providing?
Yeah, so there's what the the county is getting is directly from the National Weather Service, a program called Code Red. So all the municipalities are actually tied into that. Now, the only challenge with that is it's a county-wide forecast. So any of the weather alerts that are Bradford County focused are going to the municipality. So here in Athens Borough, they receive that weather alert that might be 6 to 10 inches, when we all know that Athens Borough is not going to get that 6 to 10 inches. However, that is one challenge that the folks over at Athens Borough had over the last few years, which they've really taken to my service for, is because of the localized forecast that I provide to this area, to say, hey, this is actually what we're going to see in your area, not countywide. So the idea there is that it is focused to the footprint of the district, and also what we're providing is pavement accumulation forecast, something that's not going to be available in any AccuWeather, any Weather Channel apps, anything like that. So we'll actually provide what the conditions are on the roads, what are the impacts, are we going to see power impacts, so things that aren't necessarily outlined on the National Weather Service side or any other public and private providers of weather. That answer your question? Yeah, thank you. As far as accuracy of the service goes, I can say we strive to beat out the National Weather Service. Our notifications always come in before the National Weather Service, and we very seldomly steer away from the forecast. Persistence is a huge thing when it comes to making proper preparations and planning. Obviously, last-minute jumps to a 2 to 4 to a 5 to 10 or forecast are, something we try to avoid, something that National Weather Service and, weather apps obviously are changing, it seems like hourly. So our forecasts are generally very persistent from the first one you get to the last one you get. So the idea is that the accuracy is also that much better than any other data available to you. Any other questions? Now, as far as the app goes, I know all the information is presented in that pamphlet, but we usually set up about 6 users on our annual service. They would all have access to a mobile application. I could certainly pass this around if anybody else also wants to see that, but that would be something that we're flexible on. I know Dr. Stedge and I'm sure a few other people would, want to be the direct points of contact, and obviously that communication back and forth between the meteorologists and the folks that are in charge would be kind of, the direction we want to steer. But obviously, we can certainly expand the users to multiple people if need be. So, but yep, other than that, that's all I have. So I appreciate your time, folks, and certainly any other questions you can email me, and happy to, answer anything else. So, yep, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiles.
Appreciate it.
How you guys doing? Good. Let's come clap for you guys a little bit. So I'm next on the list, and I get a very distinct opportunity and pleasure to do something that I get jealous about that others get to do. And tonight we get to recognize our team sports. I don't know if you guys understood this, but all of our team sports qualified and played in district play this year, which is pretty incredible. So there's a lot of our student athletes here tonight. It's pretty nice. I was expecting a much smaller crowd, but they showed up in force. So let's start with girls soccer. Who's from girls soccer that can come up here? Come on, you three. Come on up here. Come on up here. We'll start with girls soccer. So right into the microphone, introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Addie Wheeler.
Hi, I'm Grace Galloway. I'm Savannah Persan.
So the girls team did very, very well. Started off very, very strong. Hit a little bit of a rough patch, but I think the rough patch was they played teams that were well above their size. They played a Class A, Class 2A school, Corning Painted Post, turned around next morning and played Bloomsburg. Remember that? Yeah, that was a tough 8-hour stretch there. And they played a night game followed by an early morning game. Made districts this year, played phenomenal at Loyal Sock, came up on the losing end of that, but what a great season they had. I think, what was your overall record? Does anybody remember? I don't know. One thing that I was really impressed by was the teamwork, and I'm really disappointed that Coach Pitts isn't here tonight because the hard hat, where's the hard hat? It's in your garage. You ended up with So after every match, the hardest working player got a hard hat to wear. Coach Pitts would give that to them, and apparently it ended up in your garage. I dared them to wear it to school the next day, whoever got it, but none of them would. So I told them they absolutely would. So girls soccer. Thank you, girls. All right, let's see. Boys soccer. Who's here from boys soccer? Yeah, just come on up, all of you. There's a billion of you. Let's go. If there's one thing I know about the boys soccer team, they travel in packs. Right, Eli? Yeah. That's right. So as you come through the line, in the microphone, your name, that would be great so everybody knows who you are. Go ahead.
I'm Eli Bendiger-Jones.
Oh, come over here. There you go.
I'm Lucius Mickley.
I'm Matthew Drysball.
Alex Thompson.
Josh Leonard.
Oh,
Braden
all the way down
Quinn.
there, all the way down there.
I'm Chase Ingram.
Patrick Umber.
Bryson Wood.
Zachary Fisher.
Thanks for leaning into
Isaac
that.
Wilcox.
Eli Vogel.
Aryan Gar. Noah Thompson.
I'm Coach Lezak.
I didn't play this year.
Sorry. He did. He played. I watched him.
I almost had to.
He kept a lot of good stats, let me tell you. So just my assessment, they did qualify for districts, and most importantly, District 3A made it to the District 3A championship game. Lost a very close battle at Balls Mills. Tough fought match. Some contested goals. I think you guys would all debate whether you scored a goal or they actually scored a goal. I think there's a lot of debate about that. Good thing we don't have the game film. We'd be debating that all week. What I loved about watching this team all season was their progression of growth. I think as teams, you guys did not give yourself enough credit of coming together and being an absolute force as a team and continually getting better as the season progressed. You peaked at the right time. You played your toughest games when you needed to. I'm sure Coach Lezak would have liked you to play tougher in those some moments. And I think there's 8 seconds that you'd love to have back.
Yeah,
Just 8 seconds, I know. It's the worst 8 seconds ever. Super proud. We got a lot of seniors on the team, but there's a lot of underclassmen. There's a lot coming back, a lot to look forward to. But I also want to take a moment and thank personally Coach Lezak. After 20
official years.
20 official years, he is retiring as the boys soccer coach here in Athens. And Coach Lezak and I go all the way back to the Lock Haven University days. I watched him play. I was his resident director. I put him in a room next to a bunch of international students that cooked food very poorly and burned some kitchens down, but I did everything I could to make his life miserable. And actually, we started teaching about the same time at Northern Tioga on other ends of the district. So he's retiring from coaching only. And also, I know Mr. Lane's not here, but he's also stepping away and retiring. So, right. So we have some big shoes to fill. So thank you, boys. You did great this year. Can't wait to see you next year. Thank you. Did he promise you food or something tonight, Josh? Just love Coach that much. I got it. Coach Darrow, did you bring anybody tonight? No. Come on up anyway. Nope, come on up anyway. You come on up. You brought Ted. Fair enough. So we have Coach Heather Darrow from the volleyball team. Volleyball team plays in a very tough NTL league. I don't think people understand how strong volleyball is in our region. We've had state champions. We've had state runner-ups out of this league. We were the only AAA school, so we played in a different district bracket. And our volleyball team, what do we say? They're great at tournaments.
Yeah.
They're a great tournament team. They won tournaments. They took second place in a huge tournament. Dallas. They beat Western Wayne, which is a huge school for volleyball. And they actually played in the District 3A volleyball championships against Shamokin this year, coming up just a couple points short in the fifth set.
Yes.
Literally. What a comeback, though.
Yeah.
Losing by 11-2, came back 16-14?
Yes.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. One thing to say about the girls' volleyball team, confidence was something they worked on all season. And if they had their confidence, they played better than any team out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And a lot to look forward to for next year. Thank you to Coach Darrow. She does a great job with our players, and we look forward to wins next year.
I'd like to say something. I would like to thank Mr. Stage for stepping in as athletic director. Your presence was everywhere, and it was really, I'm very grateful for that.
Well,
So
thank you. Thank
so
you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. I see Coach Robbins and I see Coach Satterley. Come on up. Bring the boys up, too. Yeah, you're special. Caleb, start with the microphone. You can introduce yourself. You too, Mr. Congdon. Everybody?
Hello, I'm Caleb
How you
Nason.
doing? Good.
I'm Keegan Congdon.
Zachary Fisher again.
Coach Tony. Coach Satterley.
Sorry. Coach Satterley, thank you. Yeah. So
Special teams player.
we got one double duty. Zach is the goalie for the boys soccer team and also our kicker. And I think I watched him kick a 44-yard field goal this year. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty, hey, for high school, that's pretty darn good. If I'm correct, you guys ended your season 5-5, right? Made districts, had to play Shamokin, tough environment, tough draw. Played their hearts out on a tough away game. That's a tough environment to play. It was great to watch this team throughout the season. I don't think people had very high expectations. They did. They believed in themselves. They talked about it all the time. They knew that they were better than other people gave them credit for, and they proved it many times over. A lot of great senior leadership in Mr. Congdon and Mr. Nason. Lots of great senior leadership by them. Really kept the team together when things got tough. Very proud of this football team, and very proud of our coaches, and look forward to what they can do next year. So, our football team, guys, thank you very much. And I got you to move the row, or the lynch, so.
Yeah,
Good.
that's good. Thank you.
Good. One more for good luck. So, I always say, you know, it's nice to have sports, right? But there's a lot of lessons being taught by a lot of kids out here tonight who took the time out of their night, probably other sports schedules, to come and be recognized. There are intangibles that are taught on the field: teamwork, leadership, responsibility, accountability, how to be an adult. We're always training people to how to be a citizen and an adult. A lot of that happens on those fields of battle, and I'm very proud of them. You guys are great teammates. I've never seen such camaraderie among teams this year than I have amongst all of our teams. I wish cross country was here. I know it's not a team sport per se, but they do get team points and they do get team wins. And they couldn't make it, unfortunately, but incredibly proud of our Wildcats this year, and looking forward to the winter sports season. So I know a lot of you are busy with that too. So thank you very much. That concludes my report.
All right, we're going to take a short break for another executive session. We'll be back momentarily.
I am coming out here directly to speak to you because you're interrupting me. I'll collect them at the end of the meeting. So you have about 2 hours.
All right, we are back.
I'm low. I did not switch. I would not do that. I'm still down low.
All right, so we're going to get started back up here with Section 3, Board Reorganization. I'll turn it over to Mr. Barrett to take us through this section.
Do I have to move?
I need a motion to appoint me as temporary president or president pro
So
tem,
moved.
whatever you wanna call it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah, so moved. Natalie,
And
second.
Could we vote on that, please? Roll call.
Mr. Cheresnowski?
Yes.
Mr. Cheresnowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick?
Yes.
Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
And Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
I now open nominations for president. They don't require a second. Could I have nomination, please?
I'd like to nominate Kathy Jo Minnick.
Let the record reflect that Chuck nominates Kathy Jo. Are there any other nominations from the floor?
I'd like to nominate Michael Owen.
Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Did you vote on that, please?
You want to do them publicly or a secret ballot?
I just want a motion to close nominations right now.
So moved. I move to close.
Right, but
Christine.
if you move, yeah, but we got to vote to close now.
Okay.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes?
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick? Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Cheresnowski?
Yes.
Nominations are closed. Mr. Frisbee, you said something before I shut you up.
How do you want to do this vote? Do you want to do a secret, is it okay to do a secret ballot?
No,
the right
it's
words?
not okay to do a secret ballot, but it is okay to do a written ballot.
Okay.
And the difference between a secret ballot, an oral ballot and a written ballot is that you'll all vote at the same time. We'd have to sign the ballot, we'd have to read the ballots at the end into the record, because the record has to show who you voted for. The idea is that people wouldn't be intimidated by people voting ahead of them. That's the theory, but it's up to you. Are you moving to vote on paper? Is that what you're moving to do?
Yes.
Is there a second for that? Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, would you roll call that, please?
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick? Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Cheresnowski?
Yes.
And Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
All right. I'll outline the rules again. You invite one of the candidates' names on this paper and then sign your name, but make sure you sign it so I can read it, okay?
Do we each get a piece of paper? No, I can give this. I have some. Special.
And yes, you are allowed to vote for yourself or the other person, whichever you want to do.
What if we all vote for each ourselves? We can't. We're not allowed. So we have to write a name and then sign it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Sign it legibly, so
Legibly. Nice.
I don't do that typically. Yeah.
You don't have to take it. I'll wait.
Okay. I was going to use my own.
Why don't we just say it?
Because someone was abstaining at the end.
Oh, yeah. Got it. No, yeah.
I get you now.
Yeah. You think somebody's gonna strong, if Kevin votes, I would be like, I'm gonna vote as you tell me, or.
They just wanted you to walk around.
You work in transportation, like,
Michael Owen by Natalie.
You like line up.
Michael Owen by Cindy.
Over there and vote.
Kathy Jo Minnick by Chuck. Kathy Jo by John Sharonowski. Michael Owen by Michael Owen. Kathy Jo by Kathy Jo. Michael Owen by Chris Jones. Michael Owen by Kevin Rude. Kathy Jo Minnick by Jason Johnson. Can you do that math in your head, Madam Secretary?
I can.
Yes, would you announce the vote, please?
The votes for President, Kathy Jo Minnick, 4, Michael Owen, 5.
You can keep those, please. Based on the Secretary's announcement, I will declare Michael Owen a successful nominee. And now I'll open nominations for Vice President. Are there any nominations for Vice President? We gotta have one.
I'll nominate Kathy Jo Minnick.
Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close nominations for Vice President.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call that, please.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick? Yes. Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Czerniawski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
And Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Being there's only been one nomination for Vice President, I can entertain a voice vote. All those in favor of Kathy Jo Minnick for Vice President, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The nays the same. Hearing none, I declare Kathy Jo Minnick the Vice President of the Athens School Board. And at this time, I will turn the gavel back to Mr. Owen, who has been elected president.
Yes.
This is from last year, and then nothing's changed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Barrett. So next we'll move on to appointing representatives for PSBA, your Career Center, and IU 17. So we'll start with PSBA. Do we have nominees for PSBA liaison?
I nominate Natalie Smart.
Okay. Any additional nominees? Okay. Motion and a second?
So moved.
Do we have a second to end the nominees? Okay. Okay, then do a by voice vote. For a yay vote for Natalie? Yay?
Yay.
Yay.
Any nay?
Madam Secretary, you declare that as unanimous when you do your vote.
Unanimous.
It's a unanimous vote for everybody votes for.
A unanimous vote
Unanimous
for
vote for
Natalie
PSBA, yep.
Smart for PSBA.
Yep.
yes.
Next is the Northern Tier Career Center primary representative. Do we have any nominees? I would like to nominate Cindy Cooper.
Second.
Any additional nominees? Okay, we'll do this by unanimous vote. All those in favor? Yay?
Yay.
Yay. All those not? Okay. So Cindy
It
Cooper.
was a unanimous vote for Northern Tier Career Representative Cindy Cooper.
Okay, so second is the Career Center alternate representative. Do we have any nominations for the Northern Tier Career Center alternate representative?
I'd like to nominate Natalie Smart again.
Okay, any additional nominees? Okay, do we have a motion and second?
Second.
You made the motion? Did somebody make the motion? Okay. Okay. Then we'll do this by unanimous vote. All those in favor? Yay?
Yay.
Yay. All those not? Okay.
It was a unanimous vote for the Northern Tier Career Center alternate representative of Natalie Smart.
Okay, next we have the IU-17 primary representative. Any nominees? Yep, we currently have nobody in either the primary or alternate.
Maybe get all of it.
Do we have any nominees for the primary or the alternate?
You need to move it up quick.
All right. It looks like they will remain vacant for 2025. Okay, that concludes the board reorganization portion of the agenda this evening. Next, we will move on to the approval of the minutes, and this is from the November 12th meeting. This is via unanimous consent. Any questions from anybody on the minutes from last month? Okay. Does anyone not approve the minutes? Okay, Christine, they were approved via unanimous consent. Next, do we have a motion and a second to bring the superintendent's items and reports up for vote?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Dr. Stage, you were up first.
I hope everybody has a nice holiday since this is the only meeting we have in December. That concludes my report.
Very eloquent.
Yeah, nice and short and to the point. Nobody for the IU-17, so Ms. Cooper, Career Center.
Yeah, I'm going to report out. Thank you very much. For the Career Center, they held at our last meeting their annual holiday dinner, and the students prepare a full Thanksgiving meal for all of us. They started with salad and appetizers and moved on to dinner. I brought Natalie, Mrs. Smart, as my guest. They are currently building a pavilion like ours in Athens and Towanda right now. They're also working on the Northeast and the Athens sets for their plays. For student recognition for the first marking period, 81% of their students were present 90% or more of the time. And for high honors, you had to have 90% or higher in grades, 90% or higher in attendance, and 0 behavior issues. And we had 9 from Athens, including Christine's Chase. And they're doing tours from December 12th to the 19th for grades 5, 8, 9, and 10. And also there is a cookie exchange on the 17th of December. And it's from 5 to 8 p.m., $30 per person, $50 per couple. Everyone's welcome. If anybody wants any more information, let me know.
Thank you. Up next is PSBA, Mrs. Minnick.
No report.
All right, thank you. Next, do we have a motion and a second for the solicitor's items and reports?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Barrett.
I have a memorandum of understanding, which I've circulated to you before with the Athens Area Educational Association regarding the online academies that we have, the Lowell Academy. We have made certain changes to this memorandum of understanding by supplementing it to include certain things that are required by our, some of our federal programs, federal classes. And it doesn't make any changes to the existing document, which at some time may have to be revised. But I am recommending you approve this based on our review of what has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Does anyone on the board have any questions for Mr. Barrett on the revisions to the WOLA MOU?
I move to approve.
Okay. But we had the motion to bring up to vote. Now we're going to go to vote. So we did the motion to bring up for discussion.
Well, you did a motion for my report.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, but I want a motion to approve it, so I have to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Second.
So now we go for a vote? Okay. Okay, no.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick? Yes. Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Tarasnowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
And Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Barrett. Next, visitor comments for board action items only. Do we have any visitor comments for board action items this evening? Okay, appears not. Next is financial business. Do we have a motion and second for financial business?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Okay, so we have our normal financial business for the first few items. We also have to do the yearly empowering the president and treasurer, and secretary to sign all checks. That's on tonight. The request to pay the bills for December, an Act 1 resolution, the TCC delegate resolution, and the various student activity reports. Dr. Stage, anything that you would like to highlight or summarize in that section this evening?
I think the only things that I think are important is the Act 1 resolution as we begin the budgeting process for 25-26. The Act 1 resolution is an important benchmark in the timeline, and it's the recommendation of by the administration that we approve the Act 1 resolution, that we will not go above the Act 1 index if we do raise taxes this year. So you'll see that, what our adjusted rates are for that in the document. So that's the only thing of note on the financials.
Thank you. Any questions from the board on the financials?
I have a question, and it's just a request, if you can get back to me on this.
Thank you. I will do that.
Under the Athens Area High School Student Activity Report, the last time it was listed on the agenda was back in March. Class of 22, 23, and 24 all had funds listed.
Left over.
Yeah, left over. This current report that we have, there is a zero balance. I would just like to know where that money went to. If you could just get back and let us know.
Yep.
Sometimes the parents wonder too, like, they do all this class fundraising.
Yep.
And the money that's left over, it's been in the account, but now
So
it's
you're
not
looking
there.
right here at the zeros, and
Yeah.
you're wondering where those numbers were as compared to March.
Yeah, in March there was 4793, 979, and 12.5. Class of 22 had 4,000
Okay,
left.
yep.
Class of
Gotcha.
23 had 79, and then 20. I was just wondering where
Yeah,
that money went to.
definitely.
24, it was probably their trip, if it was March,
I will
but who knows? Oh,
Absolutely.
no, their trip was before.
absolutely look into it. I just want to make sure it's not part of the graduating class donation or rollover, but I will definitely look into it.
Yeah, because I didn't see that listed down below either as the,
Yep, I'll give you a clear answer.
thank you.
Thank you for giving me some time.
Any additional questions? All right, Christine, we'll go for a vote, please.
Mrs. Minnick?
Yes.
Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Charles-Nowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Okay, next is personnel. Do we have a motion and a second for personnel?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a personnel list with a Act 93 resignation, a support resignation, a few support contracts, a supplemental contract, athletic coach, and athletic volunteers. Dr. Stage, anything you'd like to add on any of those?
No, just relatively standard personnel listing. Nope.
Okay, any questions from the board? Okay, we'll go for a vote, Christine.
Mr. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Charles-Nowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
And Mrs. Minnick?
Yes.
Okay, next, contracts and agreements. Do we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so the E-rate agreement with Quest Tech and the PASBO interim services agreement. Dr. Stage, anything you'd like to add for those?
No, just that our E-rate was always done through the IU. Now that we have Quest Tech as our IT services provider, it only makes logical sense to allow them the opportunity to work with our E-rate funding and help us, drive our grant funds towards things that need to improve our infrastructure tech-wise. And then the PASBO services is for support services, interim support services. And while I do want to point out that the hourly rate is $81 an hour, that includes the administrative fee from PASBO too. So, and that is for hours of work, not days of work.
Okay. Any questions from the board on those two contracts?
How long has Quest Tech been our IT people now?
Since July 1.
Is there any way we can get like a 6-month update or report on?
Yeah, absolutely.
How
I'll
they're doing.
actually try to get Chris Gorsline, our IT director, in front of the board here in January.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Any additional questions? Okay, Christine, a vote on that section, please.
Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Charles-Nowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick?
Yes.
And Mr. Owen?
Yes. Okay, we have no policies this evening. They'll be reviewed again next month. Next is curriculum and instruction. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Whoever.
All right, so we've got the high school and the middle school Science Olympiad field trip requests, both overnight. Dr. Stage, anything you'd like to mention for those?
No, Sunset Olympiad, their events are few and far between, and typically the travel requires them to stay overnight.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Okay, vote, Christine?
Mrs. Smart?
Yes.
Mr. Charles-Nowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper?
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick?
Yes.
Mr. Owen?
Yes.
And Mr. Rude?
Yes.
Okay, next, transportation items. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
All right. So 3 new drivers on the list in front of us. Any questions from the board?
Just to note, Mr. Youst and Mr. Burgess are both school district employees. Mr. Youst has been a bus driver for a while now. I think he's just working for Chambers on top of another company. And Mr. Burgess is a coach and a teacher at the high school, and I think in the future he may just drive the bus for events. And Mr. Bishop is also a coach for junior high wrestling, and he will also double down and do some driving for junior high wrestling. And just if anyone's concerned, their S endorsement tests are this week, and I will show proof or documentation. That's happening with I think Jody Straight does that, or PennDOT, so.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Stage. Any questions from the board? All right, we'll go for a vote. Christine?
Mr. Tarasnowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Cooper,
Yes.
Mr. Frisbee,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Minnick,
Yes.
Mr. Owen,
Yes.
Mr. Rude,
Yes.
and Mrs. Smart.
Yes.
Okay, we have nothing for buildings and grounds this evening. We're up to the next visitor comment section. Do we have any visitor comments this evening? Okay, section 16 is a section that does not require a vote, but just several board communication items. Section 17, do we have any board discussion items from the board this evening? Okay, and looking, our next meeting, next month, January 14th, over at Lynch, 7 o'clock with a 6:15 committee start as usual. There will be no need for an executive session after this meeting since we had one before and during. So do I have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.